Hello, how you guys doing? Welcome to the Messy Sweet Spot. I'm your host, Gigi, and I have more information to give to you all. If you guys did not hear, Diddy keys to the city of Miami just been revoked. Firstly, I feel like he should never had a keys to Miami in the first place. However, we have some new news that are breaking, and you guys need to hear about this. They have a list of names of all the celebrities that was taking place on those Diddy tapes, messing with underage minors. And not only that, there's been multiple celebrities, not just Diddy, that has been putting sugar boogers in people's drink to take advantage of them. If you thought it was just Diddy, you have sadly been mistaken. In this video, we're going to see it all. A lot of people are naming for Oprah to be locked up as well because they feel like she has a lot to do with it. After all, she has opened up the doors for the likes of Diddy and so many other ones. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot, and let's see what they have to say.
When it comes to your client's credibility, I think people will look at what he said last fall. And it's not just his attorneys. I mean, he pays those attorneys. They're speaking on his behalf.
If the claim is that he had unwanted, that claim is baseless.
Major new allegations today: assault and exploitation by Combs.
25 minors out of 120 clients, a crowded courtroom, and a guy who's absolutely convinced he's innocent. This is where we find our man Diddy, his lawyers saying he's ready to tell his story. Apparently, this isn't just about clearing his name. This is about standing up for everyone who's ever been targeted by the government. Well, just 5 minutes ago, a lawyer leaked arrest warrants for Hollywood stars connected to Diddy. Will the shocking revelations that come out of this trial completely destroy Diddy's empire? Or is there more to this story than anyone could have imagined?
Yeah, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my bag?
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping for shit. I like that.
You know, I'll be practicing.
We've got his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, all hyped up and throwing words around like possibility of life in federal prison. This guy's clearly going for the full shock and awe approach. Diddy, it seems, is desperate to tell every detail. His lawyer makes it sound like the trial's going to turn into an Oscar-winning performance. Tears, confession, maybe even a dance number. Who knows? We just know that things are going to get messy.
Who plays no role in the criminal case whatsoever, who brought a civil case against Mr. Combs. And she was in a band, and another one of the band members says, I was in the same band she was, and none of the things that she's complaining about in her complaint, I saw none of those things. And so she came forward and made a statement. She's not a witness. She's not a government witness.
Here's where we stand. Diddy's in deep trouble. And no, it's not just any old trouble. We're talking about a scandal that could end careers and expose Hollywood's underbelly. New details are emerging that could drag some of the biggest names in the business down with him. If you love celebrity drama, you'll want to sit tight because this isn't just a headline. This is a meltdown that's going to rattle the whole industry.
Allowed it to go on, said nothing, didn't intervene, maybe benefited from it, profited from it. All of these individuals and entities, in my view.
Let's talk about Tony Busby, one of the lawyers weighing in on this case. He's no stranger to the spotlight, and he's been pretty direct. He's hinted that this isn't just about taking down one man. Busby seems to be implying that hotels, banks, and others could also be called out. And if those big players are involved, there's no telling how deep this thing goes. This whole circus could end up being more than a celebrity trial. It might just become a corporate smackdown too.
You know, it was stated that a celebrity that's bigger than P. Diddy, the feds have that individual on tape. Now, it's a little different when you're doing civil suits, but when the feds come get you, they got a little something.
And that's criminal.
And that's criminal.
The defense is trying to convince the world that the prosecution is unfairly targeting him. Like those prosecutors are just itching to land a big, splashy conviction so they can get their names out there. They're going after him like he's the big fish they've been waiting for. The legal team is trying to spin this like it's a vendetta, a play for fame by the people supposed to serve justice. In other words, everyone's in it for themselves.
I mean, I hit rock bottom. but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
Now, his team says that, unlike other big names that went down in recent years, his case doesn't involve minors. It's almost as if they're trying to say, hey, we're not that bad. The whole defense strategy seems to be based on separating him from the truly notorious scandals. Like, sure, there's some questionable stuff here, but they swear it's not crossing any criminal lines. The message is loud and clear. Questionable lifestyle choices? Absolutely. Federal crimes? They're insisting not.
She got a boyfriend. Like, I'm like, cool, I'm trying to be the side.
But then there's this big question. Does him taking the stand make things better or worse for him? Is he really going to turn the tide here? Or will this be the moment where everything's finally laid bare? And how much of his defense is really about convincing people he's different from past scandals? Trying to dodge those R. Kelly and Epstein comparisons? Because let's face it, it's looking a little dicey. His defense is clinging to this idea that he's just misunderstood. But the problem is that when your defense needs to start with, hey, I'm not that guy, you're already in a pretty bad spot.
Who the F Usher was, you know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when somebody say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas, man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, Nick was bleeding from the butt.
It's a nightmare scenario for the Hollywood elites. You don't want to be the one answering questions about your time on his yacht, and that's exactly what could be coming. And this isn't just about musicians. We're talking actors, athletes, politicians. Everyone's got some kind of tie to this guy, and nobody wants their name caught up in the mess. Some of these folks are doing everything they can to distance themselves. Even his famous parties, those ultra-glam white parties, have turned from iconic events to cautionary tales in the blink of an eye.
Owned by a black man. Owned by a black man. Way too comfortable though.
What y'all wanna do? Wanna be shot?
Take Tony Busby again. He's made it clear that he's not stopping at just one person. He wants to drag anyone who played a role into the courtroom too. He's already sending out demand letters to some very high-profile names, warning them that they'd better get ready to pay up if they want to stay out of this scandal. And according to him, some celebrities have already settled, paid hush money to make this go away. Talk about skeletons in the closet. Busby's hinted that if these celebrities don't pay, their dirty laundry will be aired out in full. There's already talk about photos from Diddy's parties, like the one featuring Cuba Gooding Jr., that's being scrutinized. Could photos like these drag others into the trial? Absolutely. Once those images start making their way into evidence, who knows what could happen? It's already clear that a lot of people who were once happy to be seen with him are now scrambling to distance themselves as fast as possible. Just recently, Mel's Drive-In, that famous old-school Hollywood diner, decided to quietly pull down the photos they had of him from their walls. They're not interested in being connected to this either. The fact is, this is all just one giant domino effect. You've got A-listers quietly settling, you've got the D-list players trying to make sure they don't, everyone else in Hollywood all on edge, waiting to see where this thing lands. With his upcoming trial, it's not just his career on the line, his whole network. All those glamorous, expensive friendships are suddenly at risk, because if he gets desperate, there's no telling who he'll point to next. The scandal surrounding Sean Diddy Combs is not just about one man's alleged bad behavior anymore. It's blowing up to expose something much bigger and much nastier. We're talking about major hotels, banks, and corporations being dragged into the mess. And here's where it gets even messier. It looks like these companies weren't just bystanders. Some may have been helping out behind the scenes, or at the very least, turning a blind eye while cashing in. Let's start with the centerpiece of this whole thing, Diddy's infamous freak-offs. These weren't just your regular parties. Picture luxury hotels filled with celebrities, where the line between party and horror show got seriously blurred. There were reportedly wild, substance-fueled events where people were pressured into all kinds of illegal and horrible acts. And who was hosting these? Diddy, of course. But here's the kicker. He wasn't alone. It's now coming to light that major hotels allegedly knew exactly what was going down in their suites. Why? Well, because these places were raking in cash while all this was happening under their roofs. We're talking about high-end, posh hotels where you'd assume the staff would be all over something like this. How does a high-profile guest throw an intimate party full of substances and no one notices? Answer: they probably did, but no one cared to stop it. The sheer amount of cash flowing into these places, rooms booked, services paid for, made it easier to look the other way. Why bust a client when they're bringing in money and celebrity status to your brand? Even worse, some staff might have been in on it, knowing they'd benefit by staying quiet. Busby has pointed out that there's a whole list of these corporate players who are more than happy to let this behavior slide. Some may have even actively covered it up, making sure the press or authorities stayed far away from these freak-offs. And now, as these lawsuits pile up, the hotel brands are looking at potentially massive financial consequences. Forget the reputation damage alone. If the courts decide they were in on the crimes, they could be facing some major settlement. Then there's the banking side of things. Now, you might wonder, how do banks even get involved in something like this? It's not like they're in the room at these parties, right? True, but follow the money. Diddy's parties were elaborate and expensive. You don't host multi-day, over-the-top events for free, and definitely not out of pocket. There's speculation that financial institutions might have been involved in processing shady transactions, maybe even handling hush money, bribes, or funds to pay for the substances used at these events. Banks have a duty to report suspicious activity, especially when massive amounts of money are being moved around in ways that don't add up. But if they were more interested in keeping a high-profile client happy, they might have ignored some of those red flags. Sure, it's all speculation until the full details come out in court, but it's not a wild leap to think that the same banks handling Diddy's business empire might also have played a part in keeping the dirt under the rug. It doesn't stop at hotels and banks. There's talk about pharmaceutical companies being involved too. Some of the victims tested positive for strange substances, like horse tranquilizers. Yep, you read that right. Horse tranquilizers. These aren't substances you pick up at your average corner drugstore. If these substances were being supplied or used at Diddy's events, then pharmaceutical suppliers or distributors might be facing some uncomfortable questions. And this is where it gets even darker. If major companies were somehow feeding into this mess, they might be liable too.
As more companies announced they've cut ties with the bad boy CEO. Earlier today, America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses said they have stopped all sales of his Sean John frames. A number of stores received a message last week to remove all the frames and replace them on the store display shelves.
Corporate greed is a powerful motivator. When you're dealing with multi-millionaire celebrities and major businesses, it's not hard to see how things could get swept under the rug in exchange for a steady stream of money. But now, the chickens are coming home to roost. Busby's lawsuits are bringing out the skeletons, and it looks like more people than just Diddy are going to be caught in this legal whirlwind. The lawsuits aren't going away anytime soon. Busby has said he's filing lawsuits in multiple states. And this isn't just about what happened at Diddy's parties. The scope of these legal cases stretches back decades, from the 1990s to as recently as a few years ago. And with each new case, more companies might get named. For these hotels and banks, the question now isn't just whether they'll lose money in court. It's whether they can survive the damage to their reputations. No one wants to stay at a hotel known for hosting drugged-up orgies or trust a bank that looks the other way when shady money moves through their accounts. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The real story, that will come out in court. And if you think you've heard all there is to hear, just wait. The next few months could be some of the most interesting Hollywood films ever seen. With him ready to spill the tea and some of the biggest names trying to avoid the splash, the entertainment industry's got a lot riding on this. Buckle up, because things are about to get very real, very fast. Oh, buckle up, because it's about to get wild. We're not discussing another celebrity feud or fashion faux pas here. We're diving into the kind of mess that makes publicists earn their keep. Dirty secrets are leaking out, and the powerful people involved, they're probably not thrilled. But let's be real. When a famous face is in hot water, fans will do mental gymnastics to defend them, no matter how ridiculous the evidence gets. Turns out, there's some groundbreaking info coming to light about his ongoing legal troubles. And it's not just your average celebrity lawsuit. It's got arrest warrants, secret alliances, and all that juicy stuff you'd expect from a Hollywood blockbuster. Lawyers are spilling the tea, and it's not looking good for a few well-known names. This is a drama about who's going down with the ship and who's jumping overboard. What does this mean for him and his inner circle? Could this be the beginning of the end for the celebrity clique that's been calling the shots for years? That's what we're here to figure out. Lawyer Tony Busby, the guy from Texas who never backs down, is out for blood. He's representing over 120 people with serious allegations against him. And the kicker? He says that his so-called friends are wiping their hands clean, deleting posts, and pretending they never even knew the guy.
Yeah. We're not telling y'all to drink. We just celebrating life. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking Friday. It's fucking Friday. Right? You know what I'm saying? Drink responsibly. Shit. With an orange though. You know what I'm saying? Fuck a lemon, fuck a lime. Dalian tequila, do ours with orange.
Thirsty.
Yes.
I black man. I love you.
You've got to love it when the fair weather friends start deleting Instagram posts. Nothing screams, I'm innocent, quite like scrubbing your digital footprint. According to Busby, some of these friends are even throwing hush money around just to keep their names out of it. This whole thing is a sinking ship and everybody's scrambling for the lifeboats. Since his arrest, lawsuit after lawsuit has been filed. We're talking misconduct, freaky parties, and secrets his A-list buddies might have known about for years. These friends are now in a mad dash to erase any trace of association, because who wants to get dragged down in a scandal of this magnitude? Busby says they've got texts, photos, videos, you name it. These folks are deleting receipts faster than you can say legal counsel, but it's too late. The receipts are in and they're juicy. Busby isn't shy about saying there's a whole group of people out there right now, sweating bullets because they were somehow involved. He's just scratching the surface, but make no mistake, this is only the beginning. The real question is, how many big names will fall once all these details come to light? It's like watching a game of Jenga, where every move could bring the whole tower down. And of course, he is keeping his lips sealed. His lawyer, Erica Wolf, insists that they're not about to dignify these baseless claims with a response. Wolf's strategy? Dismiss everything as a media circus. Sure, because when your client's life looks like a soap opera, the problem must be the audience, right? Meanwhile, Busby's hotline for victims is blowing up. Over 12,000 calls in 24 hours. That's not just a floodgate, that's a damn tsunami. The sheer volume of people reaching out means there's a lot more to this story than a few baseless claims. Busby's out here settling cases already, trying to give these victims some form of justice while making a bigger case against him. But the best part, the celebrity names that are getting dropped. Prince Harry has somehow found his name floating around this scandal, though there's no suggestion of any wrongdoing on his part. It's more like he just got caught up in the whirlwind. And let's be real, that's the last thing the guy needs right now. Then there's Lucian Grange, the CEO of Universal Music Group. He's been accused of being aware of the antics and turning a blind eye. Classic move, right? Pretend you don't see the storm brewing until you're drenched. And just when you thought it couldn't get weirder, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s name pops up. Apparently, he's been named as a defendant for some shady behavior on a yacht. Cuba called it all ridiculous, which is pretty rich coming from someone who's been caught in his fair share of Hollywood chaos. Oh, and then there's Young Miami. She was dating Diddy at the time, but of course, she claims she knows nothing about any of it. I wasn't around at the time, she says. Sure, sounds legit. Just what you'd expect someone to say when they want nothing to do with the mess their ex left behind. This scandal isn't just threatening careers, it's casting a long, ugly shadow over anyone who was even remotely in the same orbit. And if the allegations stick, there could be some serious jail time. We're talking a career-ending sentence, not to mention the fallout for all the others tied up in the mess. You've got to wonder how many more names are going to come out before this is all over. And let's not forget Lucian Grange's legal team's reaction to the accusations. They're calling them outlandish and knowingly false. They're not just fighting to dismiss these claims. They're out for blood, threatening to come after the lawyer who filed them. Because that's how it works in the world of the rich and powerful. Don't just deny, destroy, but things are looking grim. The arrest has sparked more than just a legal battle. It's a full-blown war of public perception. Former New York City prosecutor Paul Callan says the accused is in deep trouble. If convicted, they're looking at spending the rest of their life behind bars. Callan doesn't think a life sentence is likely, but even 10 to 20 years would be enough to put an end to their larger-than-life persona. What's worse, bail has been denied, which is pretty unusual for someone of such stature. The prosecutors convinced the judge that this person was a flight risk, or worse, that they'd intimidate witnesses if let out. It's not just a legal issue anymore. It's a question of whether recovery is even possible, both in the eyes of the law and in the court of public opinion. This entire situation is about more than just one individual. It's about the powerful people who surround them and the system that lets celebrities operate in their own bubble, untouched until it all comes crashing down. As this case heads to trial, one thing is clear: the fallout is going to be brutal. It's going to affect careers, reputations, and the lives of everyone caught in the blast radius. Who will come out clean and who will be left in the rubble? The internet's spinning out of control with rumor, and people are eating it up like it's the latest episode of their favorite reality show. But here's the twist: these conspiracy theories aren't just out there. They're being treated like they're the real deal by those who love a good scandal. So let's break down some of the most insane theories out there that might actually be true. First up, let's talk about the body double theory. According to this wild speculation, the accused didn't actually get arrested. They sent a lookalike to take the fall. Now, let's be honest, there's something almost theatrical about the idea that one of the wealthiest and most connected people in entertainment would stage their own mini prison break moment. You can almost picture them in some luxury hotel suite while the body double is getting cuffed. The theory goes that this person has such vast resources, they could pull a Houdini and slip away while sending a lookalike to fool the police. It sounds absurd, right? But people are eating it up. Think about it. This isn't just about whether they got arrested. It's about crafting a larger-than-life narrative. The idea that someone could outsmart the entire justice system with a stunt like this plays into the fantasy that celebrities are somehow above the law. And let's be real, a lot of people want to believe this is true because it's way more entertaining than the boring truth of someone simply getting caught. Next up, there's the Epstein connection. Yes, you read that right. Some folks have tied this scandal to the infamous Jeffrey Epstein, and not in a they bumped into each other at a party once kind of way. We're talking about allegations that the accused was involved in some of Epstein's more sinister dealings. Rumors suggest they were part of an elite circle who attended secret, extravagant parties where all sorts of illegal stuff went down. People are saying they were a regular at Epstein's mansion in Miami, where these so-called parties took place. Now, whether or not they ever set foot in Epstein's mansion is up for debate, but here's where it gets sticky. Joe Rogan and MMA fighter Israel Adesanya got in on this, hinting that this person was part of a much darker side of the entertainment world. Adesanya even mentioned being grateful that he dodged an invite to one of their parties, as if it was some secret rite of passage into the elite. Rogan, who's no stranger to stirring the conspiracy pot, pointed out that the fact no one is talking about this in mainstream media must mean there's a cover-up happening. The real kicker? There's this idea floating around that, unlike Epstein, they might sing under pressure, naming all their rich and powerful associates. This plays right into the public's thirst for some high-profile downfall. People don't just want them to go down, they want to see an entire empire crumble. There's been a lot of talk about their late ex-partner, Kim Porter, and her supposed journal entries that paint them in a damning light. According to this theory, a recently published book, Kim's Lost Words, supposedly contains journal entries from Porter that reveal all kinds of dark secrets. Some people even believe that these entries were the real catalyst for the arrest. It's like something out of a detective novel, a mysterious book conveniently published just before their legal troubles started, almost as if the universe was setting the stage for their downfall. Never mind that Diddy's team has called this a complete fabrication. Conspiracy theorists are loving the idea that there's this secret diary out there that holds all the answers. And naturally, because we live in an age where facts take a back seat to juicy narratives, this book is selling like crazy, feeding the theory that Diddy's public image has been a well-crafted lie all along. Some people are convinced that Diddy's arrest is somehow linked to the real reason Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck split up. Yes, apparently there are tapes that were seized during an FBI raid on Diddy's mansion, and these tapes allegedly feature Lopez. In this version of the story, those tapes were so explosive, they led to her and Affleck's breakup. What's wild about this theory is how perfectly it plays into the public's love for high-profile romantic drama. Affleck and Lopez have always been tabloid gold, and this rumor gives people exactly what they craved: a juicy Hollywood love triangle laced with scandal. Of course, J-Lo's camp has dismissed this as total nonsense, but that hasn't stopped the rumor mill from cranking out more and more versions of this story. As if that weren't enough, Usher has somehow been dragged into the mess too. After Diddy's arrest, Usher mysteriously wiped his entire social media history. Now, some people might call that a coincidence, but conspiracy theorists? They see it as a red flag. The prevailing theory is that Usher was trying to cover up any links to Diddy before things got too hot. People are speculating that Usher knew something was coming down the pipeline and decided to clean house, digitally speaking. After all, if you've got nothing to hide, why delete your entire history, right? Of course, Usher later explained that his account was hacked, but once the conspiracy gears are turning, there's no stopping them. The timing was too perfect for some people to believe anything other than the worst. Now, let's talk about Justin Bieber, or rather, a song that sounds like Justin Bieber. An AI-generated track resurfaced online shortly after Diddy's arrest, with lyrics that seem to reference a wild party at Diddy's place. The song features Bieber's voice singing about losing himself at a party hosted by, you guessed it, Diddy. Now, it's been confirmed that the song is fake, created by artificial intelligence. But that hasn't stopped people from speculating that there's some hidden truth in the lyrics. The fact that it popped up just after Diddy's arrest only added fuel to the fire. People are convinced that the song, fake or not, was some kind of clue or warning about the shady stuff going down at Diddy's parties. Could this trial take down Hollywood's biggest names, or is Diddy being unfairly targeted? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.
Ooh, honey, I tell you, it's every day is something different. I want to know, what are your thoughts about this video? Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot, and I'll see you guys on another video. Bye.